Hello, beautiful soul. If you feel stuck, if your financial life seems like a cycle of lack, if you're tired of hoping, wishing, and still coming up short, I want you to stop everything for a moment and just do this one simple thing for the next 2 weeks. That's it. Words are not just sounds or ink on paper. They are vibrational tools, energetic instruments that carry frequency, intention, and creative power. Long before modern science began exploring quantum fields and vibrational realities, ancient spiritual teachers knew the truth. What we speak, we create. Florence Scovel Shinn, one of the most influential voices of spiritual law and metaphysical truth, emphasized again and again that the spoken word is a force of divine power. In her timeless classic, The Game of Life, and How to Play It, she declared that words are like seeds. When planted repeatedly with conviction, they eventually blossom into visible manifestations. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you spoken defeat into your life without even realizing it? You say things like, "I can't afford that," or "money doesn't come easily to me," or "I'm always broke," without thinking about the spiritual impact. But the universe is always listening. It does not distinguish between what you want and what you don't want. It simply responds to your most dominant declarations. If your words are consistently affirming lack, struggle, or fear, then that is what you continue to attract. Now, contrast that with people who seem to live lives of financial ease, abundance, and flow. Often, you'll find they speak differently. They say things like, "Money comes to me easily and frequently," or "I always have more than enough," or "I'm aligned with wealth." These are not just optimistic phrases. They are spiritual commands. They are instructions to the subconscious mind and the universal field that say, "This is my truth." And as Florence taught, man can only receive what he sees himself receiving. And how do you begin to see yourself receiving something? You speak it repeatedly, until it becomes your new inner image. There is divine power in the spoken word. It is the activation of spiritual law. The Bible affirms this truth as well. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Your words either breathe life into your dreams or dig a grave for them. When you declare prosperity with emotion, with belief, even before the evidence shows up, you are engaging the law of assumption. You're telling the invisible forces of reality to organize themselves around your declaration. The problem is, most people don't know how often they are using this law against themselves. They speak words of fear, they joke about poverty, they entertain self-deprecating remarks, and then wonder why nothing changes. Florence Scovel Shinn warned about this. You can't afford to speak a single word of failure or defeat, even in jest, because words don't understand humor. The subconscious mind takes everything literally, and what you consistently affirm, whether positive or negative, will eventually express itself in your reality. This is why she taught that you should create powerful affirmations and speak them aloud daily. It's not enough to think them. Thinking is the seed, but speaking is the water. When you speak, you bring energy from the invisible realm into the physical. You declare it out loud, and the vibration of your voice literally activates fields of energy. Your voice carries your belief, your tone carries your intention, and your repetition creates new patterns of attraction. For 2 weeks, you are invited to speak one powerful affirmation consistently, as if your financial transformation depends on it. Because it does. The affirmation is simple. I now draw from the abundance of the universe my immediate and endless supply. All channels are free. All doors swing open. Every time you say this, you are breaking ties with the energy of limitation. You are cutting the cords of old beliefs that told you wealth was hard to come by. You are choosing to believe that divine supply is real, available, and ready to flow into your life now. The more you speak it, the more you believe it, and the more you believe it, the more it becomes your reality. In just 2 weeks, you will begin to notice changes. not just in your bank account, but in your mindset, your emotions, your level of peace. You'll feel aligned. You'll feel supported. You'll feel like you're in a flow rather than a fight. That is the power of speaking life into your finances. That is the unseen miracle of intentional language. Florence Scovel Shinn did not teach idle philosophy. Her words changed lives. Her students wrote her letters telling of unexpected money, job offers, healed relationships, and opened doors that seemed impossible, all because they changed the words they were using. They shifted from words of fear to words of faith. And that's what you are invited to do right now. Your voice is a gift. Use it to build your future. Use it to call in wealth. Use it to honor the truth that you are not meant for lack. You are meant for overflow. You are meant to live a life where needs are met with grace and desires are fulfilled with ease. But it starts with your words. Let every word that leaves your mouth be a declaration of abundance. Let no sentence be wasted on worry. Let no phrase reinforce lack. Let everything you speak carry the tone of prosperity. The world will reflect what you consistently declare. So for the next 14 days, speak the language of wealth, speak the vibration of abundance, and speak as if the universe is rearranging itself on your behalf. Because it is. In the end, the one who controls the word controls the world. Speak wisely, speak boldly, speak wealth into existence. There is a spiritual shortcut available to all of us, simple, powerful, and astonishingly effective. It doesn't require years of education, expensive courses, or complicated strategies. All it requires is the repetition of a single, spiritually charged sentence. One divine affirmation, spoken faithfully for just 2 weeks, can shift the entire trajectory of your financial reality. This isn't magic, and it's not wishful thinking. It is the activation of spiritual law through word, vibration, and belief. Florence Scovel Shinn, a timeless teacher of spiritual truth, taught that one statement aligned with universal law and spoken with faith can unlock channels of supply previously unseen and untouched. That affirmation is this: I now draw from the abundance of the universe my immediate and endless supply. All channels are free. All doors swing open. This isn't merely a phrase. It is a key that opens the doors you thought were locked. It is a spiritual command that aligns you with infinite wealth. Every word of this affirmation has been intentionally crafted to call upon the power of divine law. When you say, I now draw, you are affirming your spiritual authority to call in wealth. You are no longer waiting, wishing, or hoping. You are drawing, as one who already has permission to receive. When you say, from the abundance of the universe, you affirm that your source is not limited to a paycheck, a person, a job, or an economy. Your source is the universe itself, which knows no limitation, which lacks nothing, which holds within it all the gold, all the ideas, all the resources you could ever need. Then you affirm, my immediate and endless supply. Not someday. Not when you're more deserving, not after more struggle. Immediate means now. Supply means flow, money, ideas, opportunities, clients, miracles. And then come the words that release all resistance. All channels are free. All doors swing open. These words break the invisible barriers that you may have built around your abundance. The belief that it's hard, that it's not for you, that you have to earn it through pain or suffering, that maybe you're not good enough. These mental doors can slam shut the flow of prosperity, but this affirmation is the spiritual crowbar that swings those doors open wide. Speaking this affirmation 3 times daily, morning, afternoon, and night, initiates a complete energetic shift. Your vibration changes. Your mind becomes saturated with expectancy. You begin to speak differently, think differently, and even behave differently. No longer in scarcity. No longer chasing or begging. Instead, you walk in the truth that wealth is your birthright, and it is on its way. Something miraculous happens when you repeat something with sincerity and feeling. Your subconscious mind, which governs 95% of your behavior and reactions, starts to rewire itself around the new belief. It no longer fights the idea of wealth. It no longer associates money with struggle, fear, or guilt. Instead, it receives the new code: wealth is easy, wealth is flowing, wealth is here. Most people never allow themselves to believe this deeply. They try an affirmation once or twice and give up when the result doesn't appear immediately. But the law doesn't work through momentary interest. It works through persistent alignment. You don't water a seed once and expect a forest. You water it every day. You protect it. You believe in its growth before it ever breaks the soil. The same applies to your affirmation. It is your seed. Your wealth will grow in response to your dedication to speak life into it daily. That's why you must commit to 2 weeks without doubt, without delay, without distraction. 2 weeks of honoring your voice as a creator, not a victim. 2 weeks of showing up to your new reality through one sentence of faith. During those 14 days, you may begin to notice small signs: unexpected refunds, new job offers, extra tips, forgotten money, or an idea that changes everything. You might feel more peaceful, more powerful, more secure. That is the shift beginning. The universe is responding. It always does. It is always listening to your dominant frequency. So keep speaking the truth, that you are aligned with the abundance of the universe, that your supply is not limited, that every channel is now free, and that all doors are open. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Man's word is his wand filled with magic and power." When you speak this affirmation, you're not simply repeating positive words. You're wielding spiritual power. You are turning your word into your wand. You are becoming the author of your reality. The power is not outside you. It has always been within. The affirmation simply gives that power a direction to flow. Like a river guided by the bank, your words become the channel through which divine wealth flows into your life. The truth is, you don't need to do 100 things to manifest wealth. You just need to do one thing well. Say the right words, with the right feeling, with the right frequency. Not once, not occasionally, but with persistence and faith. Speak this one simple affirmation every day for 2 weeks, and you will see results. Your outer world will start to catch up to your inner command. Because when you speak like someone who already possesses abundance, when you affirm that the universe is your source, when you declare that supply is immediate and endless, you activate a universal response that cannot be denied. So commit today. Make the next 2 weeks a sacred contract between you and your highest self. Speak your wealth into existence, not with desperation, but with divine authority. And when the results begin to unfold, you will not be surprised. You will simply smile and say, "Of course, I spoke it and it came." 2 weeks. That's all it takes to begin transforming your financial vibration, your mindset, and your external reality. In a world that often glorifies struggle and overcomplicates success, we forget the most powerful transformations are born in simplicity and consistency. When you commit to a spiritual practice, even just one, for a period of focused time, you begin to shift your energy, your beliefs, and the frequency you broadcast to the world. And what you broadcast is what you attract. Florence Scovel Shinn, a timeless metaphysical teacher, often reminded her readers that spiritual law works in response to our most dominant vibrations. It is not your wishful thinking that moves the universe. It is your persistent energy field, the one you establish through repeated thoughts, feelings, and spoken words. That's why committing to speaking one affirmation 3 times a day for 2 weeks is not just a mental exercise. It's a spiritual recalibration. It's a decision to train your frequency to match the vibration of wealth. When you speak the affirmation, "I now draw from the abundance of the universe my immediate and endless supply," all channels are free. All doors swing open. You are not just affirming prosperity. You are rewiring the patterns in your energy body. The same way your muscles grow stronger from daily exercise, your energy becomes more magnetic and receptive from repeated affirmations. 2 weeks may seem short, but it's long enough to plant and nurture new mental patterns, and short enough to stay committed without feeling overwhelmed. In the first few days of this practice, your mind might resist. Old thoughts of doubt, fear, and unworthiness may rise to the surface. That's expected. You're shifting from the familiar vibration of scarcity to the higher vibration of abundance, and the ego will challenge that. It might tell you you're wasting time. It might point to your current circumstances as evidence that things won't change. But don't stop. Keep speaking the affirmation. That resistance is actually proof that the shift is happening. It's the energy of the old story being dismantled to make room for a new one. By day 5 or 6, you'll begin to feel different. Maybe not everything outside of you has changed yet, but inside, something will begin to shift. You may feel more confident, more calm, more expectant. You might notice that you worry less about money or stop repeating phrases like, "I can't afford it." Instead, you'll start saying, "It's on its way," or "Money flows to me easily," or "I trust the process." This is a sign that your energetic baseline is rising. You're starting to tune your inner state to the same station where wealth is already playing. Around the second week, synchronicities may begin to appear. You might receive an unexpected payment, a job offer, a gift, a refund, or a brilliant idea that shifts everything. You might attract new people, new resources, or new confidence that leads you toward financial opportunities. These are not coincidences, they're confirmations. They're the universe echoing back your new frequency. And it's not just about the money that comes, it's about the new version of you that's emerging. A version who believes in divine support. A version who is open, confident, and aligned. A version who no longer sees money as something hard to attain, but as something natural and inevitable. It's important to remember, consistency is more powerful than intensity. Saying the affirmation with faith and focus a few times a day for 14 days will do more than saying it once with doubt and never again. Why? Because consistency creates momentum, and momentum creates miracles. The spiritual laws governing abundance are neutral. They respond to whatever energy you feed them most consistently. 2 weeks of faith-filled words are enough to shift that consistency from lack to prosperity, from struggle to ease. And once you complete the 2 weeks, you'll realize this wasn't just a temporary challenge. It was a new way of being. Many people continue the practice beyond the 14 days, not because they're forcing results, but because they begin to enjoy the power they feel in speaking their truth. It becomes second nature. The affirmation becomes part of their daily rhythm, their new identity, their natural state. And that's when wealth becomes effortless. When abundance stops being a desire and starts being your normal. Florence Scovel Shinn didn't teach theories, she taught results. And she reminded us that the spoken word plants seeds in the subconscious, and with repetition, those seeds grow into visible realities. In 2 weeks, you can water those seeds daily. You can begin each morning with power, anchor your day in faith, and end your night in trust. This simple practice is not about doing more. It's about aligning with who you really are, a divine being with access to infinite supply. Let others hustle, strive, and burn out. Let them seek from the outside. You, instead, will go within. You will affirm the truth that has always been waiting to be remembered, that you are worthy, you are powerful, and you are connected to a universe that never runs out. The channels are free. The doors are open. The supply is immediate and endless. So take a deep breath and begin. Speak the words today, tomorrow, and for the next 14 days. Say them with feeling. Say them with faith. Say them when it's easy, and say them when it feels hard. Say them until they're no longer affirmations, but declarations of identity. You will not only attract wealth, you will become the kind of person who expects it, welcomes it, and honors it. And once that shift happens, There is no going back, because once the inner pattern is set, the outer world must follow. That's the law. That's the promise. That's the power of 2 weeks committed to one simple thing. There is one truth that governs every area of life, whether it's health, relationships, or money. You cannot create abundance from a place of fear. Fear is a contraction. It closes doors, it shuts down your energy, and it blocks the very flow of wealth you desire. But faith is the great opener. Faith is expansive. It breathes life into possibility. It unlocks doors you didn't know existed. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that faith is not just a virtue, it is a spiritual weapon. A divine energy that makes things move in your favor. When you learn to live from faith instead of fear, your entire reality begins to rewire itself, internally and externally. Every time you speak your affirmation, I now draw from the abundance of the universe my immediate and endless supply. All channels are free. All doors swing open. You are making a choice between faith and fear. In that moment, you're either believing in the truth of spiritual law, or you're bowing to the illusion of limitation. And it truly is an illusion. Scarcity isn't real, it's a belief system. The universe doesn't run out of money. It doesn't go broke. It doesn't ration wealth. But if you believe that resources are limited, and if you let fear be your compass, you will only see doors that are shut and channels that are blocked. That's not reality. It's perception, shaped by your vibration. Fear is subtle. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers in the background. You're not good enough. What if this doesn't work? What if you're just fooling yourself? These thoughts are not harmless. They carry frequency. They carry power. And when entertained consistently, they create patterns in your subconscious mind that eventually manifest as struggle, delays, and financial anxiety. Florence warned her students not to tolerate fear-based thoughts. She knew that fear creates confusion, and confusion delays manifestation. But faith brings clarity, and clarity attracts results. Faith doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means believing in a greater truth, even when the physical evidence says otherwise. It means choosing to see divine supply where others see lack. It means trusting the unseen realm more than the bank balance, the economy, or temporary appearances. Faith doesn't deny reality, it transcends it. When you operate in faith, you begin to co-create with the divine, and miracles become your new normal. Opportunities you never imagined show up. Resources appear, debt dissolves, creative ideas flow effortlessly. You don't chase wealth, it starts finding you. But here's the key: faith must be exercised like a muscle. Speaking your affirmation for 2 weeks straight is your training ground. Each time you say those words, you're pushing back against fear. You're reprogramming your mind to expect abundance instead of setbacks. And like any form of training, the beginning may feel awkward. You may feel resistance. Your old beliefs may shout louder than your new affirmation. That's okay. You speak the words anyway, not because you feel it 100% yet, but because you're choosing what to believe from this moment forward. Even when fear tries to creep in, remind yourself the presence of fear doesn't mean you're failing. It simply means you're moving beyond your comfort zone. Fear is often the final barrier before breakthrough. Don't back down. When fear rises, double down on your faith. Say your affirmation with even more conviction. Faith is not about being perfect or never feeling doubt. Faith is about continuing to declare what's true in spirit, no matter what things look like in the physical. Florence often said, "Fear and faith cannot live in the same house." You must choose who you will serve. Will you be loyal to the old stories, the ones that told you money is hard to come by, that success is only for a lucky few, that you must hustle endlessly to barely survive? Or will you choose the higher truth, that wealth is your divine inheritance, that you are supported by universal law, and that you are worthy of overflowing prosperity simply because you exist? The moment you choose faith, the moment you start speaking this truth consistently for 2 weeks, everything begins to change. The cells of your body respond. Your heart opens, your energy expands. You begin to walk taller, speak more powerfully, and expect more from life. Faith creates that shift. It rewires your subconscious programming from struggle to ease, from fear to freedom. And as your inner world upgrades, your outer world must follow. That's not just inspiration, it's a law. You may not realize it, but you are the architect of your experience, and the blueprints are drawn by your most dominant beliefs. Fear builds walls, faith builds doors. Fear expects failure, faith expects provision. When you act, think, speak, and affirm from a place of faith, you give the universe permission to do what it's been waiting to do all along. Bless you abundantly. So for the next 2 weeks, live as though you truly believe this affirmation. Speak it when you wake up. Whisper it during the day. Declare it before sleep. Let it become your new rhythm. Not once in a while, but constantly. Let it drown out fear. Let it take root so deeply that doubt no longer has any room to grow. Let your faith become stronger than your fear. Because when faith becomes your foundation, wealth doesn't just visit your life, it takes up residence. And it brings peace, confidence, and limitless opportunity with it. You don't have to force anything. You just need to stay in alignment. And alignment is nothing more than repeated choices. Choosing faith over fear, day after day, word after word, until what you affirm becomes what you live. In the end, this is your power to rewire your world by rewiring your reality, and to rewire your reality by choosing faith again and again. Say the affirmation, commit to the practice, and watch as the impossible becomes inevitable because you believed. The universe is not moved by desperation. It is not activated by pleading, hoping, or emotional panic. Instead, the universe responds to one thing with absolute precision: alignment. This is a spiritual law as real and constant as gravity. When you are aligned, you don't have to chase wealth or beg for opportunities. You simply attract what already matches your inner state. Begging carries the frequency of lack, of I don't have. But alignment carries the frequency of truth, of I already am. And that truth is everything when it comes to attracting unlimited wealth. Florence Scovel Shinn made this abundantly clear in her teachings. She showed us that we must act and speak as though the thing we desire is already ours. This isn't delusion, it's divine wisdom, because from a spiritual perspective, there is no such thing as waiting. Everything you desire already exists in the invisible realm. Your job is not to plead for it to come into existence, but to align your vibration so you can receive it in physical form. Every time you say the affirmation, I now draw from the abundance of the universe my immediate and endless supply. All channels are free, all doors swing open. You are doing something very powerful. You are not asking, you are declaring. You are not begging, you are aligning. Those words, when spoken with belief, tell the universe, I'm ready to receive. They say, I trust that my good is on its way. They reflect the inner posture of someone who knows that their supply is already prepared, that their abundance is already flowing toward them, and that nothing can block what is divinely theirs. This is a crucial shift in mindset. Most people, without realizing it, speak to the universe from a place of separation. They say things like, please, I need this money, or I don't know how I'll make it, or why is it taking so long? But these statements carry the energy of resistance. They come from the vibration of lack, and lack cannot attract wealth. When you vibrate at the frequency of not having, the law of attraction brings you more of what that frequency represents, more experiences that validate. I don't have. But alignment changes everything. Alignment means your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and words all match the reality you wish to experience. It's when your inner atmosphere is tuned to the frequency of abundance, even before you see a single external change. It's speaking and walking in faith, not fear. It's affirming divine supply, even when your bank account doesn't yet reflect it. It's saying, I know who I am and what I'm connected to. And that is more powerful than any temporary appearance of lack. Alignment is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It's the condition that allows the universe to deliver what's already been prepared for you. When you beg or plead, you are sending a mixed signal. On one hand, you say you want wealth. On the other, you express that you believe it's far away or difficult to attain. But when you align, you become clear. You are no longer sending two signals, desire and doubt. You are sending one bold, unwavering message. I am ready. I am open. I am aligned. That's why this 2-week practice is so powerful. It's not just about saying words. It's about creating alignment. Saying the affirmation multiple times a day reminds your subconscious who you really are. It retrains your energy field. It brings your emotions, thoughts, and expectations into harmony. And once that harmony is reached, the universe has no choice but to respond. It's not personal, it's principle. The law does not play favorites. It simply gives you what you are most aligned with. Florence Scovel Shinn taught, man can only receive what he sees himself receiving. So what do you see yourself receiving? Do you see yourself scraping by, or do you see yourself thriving? Do you feel like a victim of your finances, or a magnet for divine supply? Because the universe listens not just to what you say, it listens to how you feel, how you expect, how you carry yourself. The language of the universe is frequency, and alignment is fluency. There is no shame in wanting more. There is no guilt in seeking abundance. But how you seek matters. When you seek from a place of alignment, it's no longer a chase, it's a dance. You're not grabbing at money with clenched fists. You're welcoming it with open hands and a heart full of trust. You're not struggling to force things into place. You're allowing divine timing, divine flow, and divine wisdom to lead the way. This shift from begging to aligning may seem subtle, but it is life-changing. It turns you from a beggar into a creator. It moves you from fear into flow. And most importantly, it tells the universe you're ready. Because when you're aligned, you don't have to demand. You simply declare, and you know it will be done. So for the next 2 weeks, let your focus be on alignment. Not trying to make something happen, but becoming someone who is ready for it to happen. Speak your affirmation not as a desperate wish, but as a spiritual command. Let it remind you of who you are, a divine being connected to unlimited supply. Let every word you speak match the reality you are calling in. Let every feeling be one of expectancy, not anxiety. You don't need to figure everything out. You don't need to beg the universe to bless you. It already has. Your job is to come into alignment with what's already yours. Your supply is not on hold. It's on its way. All channels are free. All doors swing open. And all you must do is stand in that truth with unwavering faith and a heart ready to receive. Because once you stop asking if you're worthy and start declaring that you are, everything changes. The flow begins. The doors open, and the wealth that was already waiting for you finally finds you. The outer world is nothing but a mirror. It reflects back the dominant energy, beliefs, and stories you hold inside yourself. If you want to change what you see on the outside, your bank balance, your financial opportunities, the flow of wealth, you must begin by changing what lives within. The truth is, all lasting transformation begins at the level of the inner self. And this is not just a spiritual idea. It is a universal principle. When you shift your internal vibration, your external world must realign to match that new frequency. Florence Scovel Shinn taught this truth with unwavering clarity. Your subconscious beliefs, your words, your mental pictures, they are all builders. They are the architects behind what shows up in your life. The reason most people stay stuck in financial lack is not because the universe is withholding from them. It's because their inner dialogue is rooted in unworthiness, fear, guilt, or limitation. They might want more money, but deep inside they still believe it's wrong to desire wealth, or they think they're not good enough to have it, or they feel they must suffer and work endlessly to earn it. These inner beliefs become the silent forces that block abundance from flowing freely. No matter how much effort they put in on the outside, it's the internal resistance that continues to create struggle. That's why wealth doesn't begin with effort. It begins with alignment and healing on the inside. This is where the affirmation becomes a powerful tool. When you say, "I now draw from the abundance of the universe my immediate and endless supply." All channels are free. All doors swing open. You are not just declaring a wish. You are speaking directly to your subconscious mind. You are planting a new energetic blueprint in your inner world, one that affirms ease, flow, divine supply, and unlimited support. This practice is so much more than repeating words. It is a method of spiritual reprogramming. It is a daily act of self-renewal. Each time you speak this truth, you chip away at the false beliefs that have lived inside you for years. You soften the hardened places where fear once lived. You rewrite the story your energy has been telling. The mind might resist at first. It may say, "This isn't real. You're just pretending. Nothing is changing." But that is only the voice of old programming trying to hold its ground. You don't need to fight it. You only need to keep going. Because consistency is what creates the shift. When you affirm abundance daily, even when your current reality contradicts it, you're proving to your subconscious that you believe in a higher truth, and the subconscious responds to repetition. It doesn't matter whether it's true or false in the beginning. If it's said enough with feeling and conviction, it begins to accept it as fact. And once your subconscious accepts wealth as normal, expected, and deserved, your external world begins to reflect that truth. This is why people can go years chasing money, working harder and harder, but never truly feeling secure or prosperous. Because the real blockage isn't the job or the circumstances. It's what's happening within. It's the thoughts they think when they're alone. It's the fear that surfaces when a bill arrives. It's the shame they feel around money. These inner vibrations create a field that the universe responds to faithfully. So if you want the results to change, don't look out there. Go inward. The good news is, the inner shift doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to take years. It just takes intention, awareness, and a spiritual practice, like your 2-week affirmation commitment. That simple act of speaking your truth daily with belief can unravel decades of limitation. It can awaken the part of you that remembers who you really are, not someone desperate or lacking, but someone powerful and connected to infinite supply. And as your identity begins to shift, your behavior will shift too. You'll make different choices. You'll recognize new opportunities. You'll stop tolerating lack. You'll walk with a different energy. People will notice. The universe will respond. The affirmation is your bridge. It connects where you are now to where you truly want to be. It helps you step out of fear and into faith. It aligns your heart and mind with truth. And that truth is simple. You are not here to struggle endlessly. You are not here to live in financial anxiety. You are not here to earn your worth. You are here to receive. You are here to live in alignment with the abundance that already exists, waiting for your inner permission to enter your experience. Florence Scovel Shinn once wrote, "The game of life is a game of boomerangs." Man's thoughts, deeds, and words return to him sooner or later with astounding accuracy. What you send out returns, but it all begins inside. When your inner dialogue shifts from doubt to certainty, from "I can't" to "it's already mine," you create a new gravitational field. You become a magnet for wealth, not by chasing it, but by becoming it from within. Your energy shifts first, and then the world catches up. So, take these 2 weeks seriously. Not as a test, not as a trick, but as a turning point. Let each repetition of your affirmation be a brick in the foundation of your new reality. Don't wait for the world to change to feel wealthy. Feel wealthy now. Speak abundance now. Trust the process now. Because the results will always follow the shift, never precede it. The world is your mirror, and it can only reflect what you've chosen to believe. If you choose to see yourself as connected, supported, and blessed, life will show you evidence of that truth. But it all starts within. That's the secret. That's the work. And it's also the freedom. Because once you change your inner world, no external condition has power over you again. Your wealth becomes inevitable, not because of what you do, but because of who you've become. You were not born to struggle for scraps. You were not placed on this earth to chase money in fear, to survive paycheck to paycheck, or to wonder if you'll ever get ahead. You were born rich in spirit, unlimited in potential, and deeply connected to the infinite source of all abundance. The world may have convinced you otherwise. People may have told you to be realistic, to settle, to play small. But deep down, there's a voice that still remembers the truth. And when you speak that truth aloud every day, with faith and conviction, something miraculous happens. You begin to return to your natural state of prosperity. You begin to live not as a beggar of blessings, but as a rightful heir to divine supply. When Florence Scovel Shinn wrote her affirmations, they weren't just clever words. They were sacred activations, spiritual commands that remind your subconscious who you really are. You are not separate from the riches of the universe. You are made from the same energy. Wealth is not something outside of you. It is something that awakens inside when you speak life into it. That is why daily spoken affirmation is one of the most powerful tools for abundance. It bypasses the doubts of the conscious mind and speaks directly to the spiritual truth that already knows. I am supported. I am provided for. I am enough. I am ready. When you speak the affirmation, I now draw from the abundance of the universe my immediate and endless supply. All channels are free. All doors swing open. You are issuing a declaration that shatters old programming. You are saying, no more to lack, no more to fear. I remember who I am, and the universe listens. Because the universe always responds to conviction, not to begging, not to fear, but to confident knowing. When your words align with belief, you begin to create, not with effort, but with energy. The spiritual laws are exact, and they are always listening. This is why affirmations are not just something you say, they are something you become. At first, it may feel like you're repeating words that feel foreign or untrue. That's okay. Keep going, because every repetition begins to carve a new neural and spiritual pathway in your being. The more you speak abundance, the more your subconscious begins to accept it as the default state. The more your energy shifts, the more opportunities begin to open, often in ways you couldn't have imagined. You may be guided to new ideas, meet the right people, or simply find yourself no longer reacting to money with anxiety. And that inner peace alone is priceless. The great illusion is that wealth is something to be earned through constant stress or struggle. The truth is wealth is something to be aligned with. When you align with abundance mentally and spiritually, the physical forms follow. That's the secret most people never discover. They work endlessly in the outer world without ever tending to the inner foundation. But you're different. You're choosing a better path, a higher path. You're choosing to speak your wealth into being. And that's the beginning of everything. It doesn't matter what your background is, what mistakes you've made, or what your bank account says today. Spiritual law is not limited by time or history. It is activated by faith and repetition. If you commit to this simple thing, speaking one affirmation daily for 2 weeks, you are building an energetic blueprint that the universe must follow. Just like seeds planted in good soil, your words grow into circumstances. Your declarations grow into manifestations. And the best part, you don't have to see the whole path. You just have to take the first step, speaking the truth of abundance until it becomes your reality. With each day, your belief deepens, your resistance lessens, your energy strengthens, and you begin to operate not from fear of lack, but from the joy of knowing that you are enough, that you are chosen, that you are destined to live with overflow, not emptiness, that you are not meant to chase money, but to attract it naturally as a reflection of your inner wholeness. Wealth is your birthright, and no one can take that from you. Not society, not your past, not your fears. But you must claim it. You must choose it. You must speak it every day until your mind believes it and your life reveals it. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for proof. Your words are the proof. Your decision is the signal. The universe is simply waiting on you to decide. And when you do, when you truly say with your whole being, I am now open to receive all that is mine by divine right, you will find that everything you've been waiting for is already on its way. There is power in your tongue, power in your voice, power in your presence. And when you use it consciously, you step into the role you were born to play, not a victim of economy or circumstance, but a co-creator with divine source. That's who you are. That's what this practice unlocks. And that's what 2 weeks of conscious affirmation can ignite. So don't underestimate this simple thing. It may seem small, it may sound easy, but it holds the power to change everything. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to begin. Speak the truth daily. Stand in your power. Choose to remember who you are. And as you do, you'll watch the outer world bend to the strength of your inner conviction. In the end, you won't just attract wealth. You will become the kind of person who is impossible not to bless. Because you will no longer be chasing wealth. You will be living it, breathing it, and speaking it into existence. Over and over, forever free.